Hey, aloha. Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis, my business partner, Nick Ponte, fired up and ready to get this thing going. We're excited to have all of you here. We have a great show lined up for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about the dreaded D and C words. Nick, the dreaded D and C words. Discipline and consistency. I call them the dreaded words because they are against my normal nature. I struggle with them.
You've improved a lot though over the years, you know?
Oh man, hey, what else can you do? Right? But we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to talk about how to be more productive, how to stay consistent. We're going to have some shout outs. We're going to take your questions. We've also been talking about a new product that launched in our emails. We'll probably talk about that a little bit. It's going to be an all-around good time. We're just going to hang out and have some fun. So I'm going to cue up the intro, grab a cool drink, and we'll see you back here in one momento.
It's now time. The moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, they've finally returned. From the sun-soaked Sin City and the sandy shores of Maui, Hawaii, now back for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam Session. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Oh yeah, they are fired up there this fine Friday. Fired up. Woo. Hear that? No, please stop. No. Okay. Too much. It's too much.
Man, there's a lot of people out there today, Tom. It's our crowds are just growing in size.
It is like it's up there. Hold on, let me turn that down a little. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. Let's look in the comments and see who is here. I see Dorn, first one in there. Patty, welcome. Dave, Richie Cronin, Taylor, welcome everybody. I see Patty and Dorner on YouTube. Oh, that's our one of our financial people trying to call me.
Yes. They called me earlier today too, and I blamed you.
Yeah, you blamed me.
Yes,
perfect.
I had to sign some documents a while back, and they were like following up on those documents with me today, and I said I already signed them. They're like, oh yes. It was Tom who needs to sign the documents.
Yeah, well, it's so crazy. They sent them to me, and I signed them and mailed them back, and they never got them. So I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out after this. What's up, Scott Meisner here, Sandy Smith, Doug Page, Barbara, Frank the Tank in the house, James Juris, Cody Weaver, man, Donna, welcome, Chris. All right, welcome.
We got the whole squad here today.
Yeah, man, we got a good crowd out there. Welcome, everybody. Well, man, geez, what has been going on this week, Nick?
A lot of things, I hope everybody's been doing their job, being good firefighters, putting out the fires every single day. It's been pretty busy over here on our end. We've been doing a lot of testing, a lot of strategizing, a lot of implementing, both in Offline Sharks, Remote Millionaires, and our agency. And look at that, 16,000 members strong in our group now.
I know, man, that is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
We have an incredible community. It is the best local marketing community that I've ever seen. I was looking in there this morning, and the engagement, the feedback, the wins, the success, the struggle, all of it. Everybody's doing such a good job. So
yeah, it is really amazing to see. I just did a webinar. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I just did a webinar yesterday for Josh Zamora's community, and he was really talking you guys up in the Facebook group. Like, he freaking loves that Facebook group. He's like, it's such an inspiration to go in there and see people taking action and doing stuff and all the interactions. So really, really good stuff.
Yeah. And I know we'll get to it in the shout outs, but I've been seeing a lot of wins in that community, in our community.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of wins in remote.
the past couple days in the remote millionaires community, man, the wins have been like bam, 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 like
nonstop.
great.
And even, I mean, even in our agency, you know, we got another which this is an interesting industry. Let me make sure I get it correctly. This is the first one that I've actually gotten. This is we just sold another $1,500 per month plus $800 per month SEO package to a floor coverings.
Oh, floor coverings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Floor coverings. So I think that means flooring, right?
Yeah. Flooring. Yep.
Flooring. Okay. Yeah. Floor coverings.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
kind of in the home services niche. That's awesome.
Yeah. Home services niche. You know, we had earlier in the week, we had a new client that was in the scuba diving. We had a new scuba diver client as well, which is pretty nice.
Man, I've never been scuba diving. I went snuba one time on Maui and I thought I was going to drown.
It's pretty cool.
It was really hard to get used to the breathing. It was like, whoo, I'm not thinking you're going to drown.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, something that I wanted to talk about real quick today, Tom, is, you know, and I've been meaning to talk to you about this. It happened this morning, and I'm wondering if anybody in our community is implementing this and can relate to it, because recently we have been sending out surveys to our clients. So is anyone here sending out surveys to their clients, checking in on their overall happiness, seeing where they are at with your services? If you aren't, don't sleep on that. I highly recommend that you do, for the reasons I'm about to explain. So we got a survey back from a pest control company just this morning, which, you know, for us, like I've been kind of checking in on what the team is doing, you know, what the results we're getting. We're running ads for them. We built them a website. We're doing SEO. We started just here in Maui, and they opened another location in Honolulu. So they have a brand new location over there, and now we're starting to do the same thing over there for them. And as far as I can tell, we're doing pretty good, especially for a new location. I can see the calls coming in, the reporting, the tracking. Form submissions, not so high, but definitely calls coming in through the ads. Dorn says, Hawaii has bugs. Yes. And it's the funniest contact form submissions come in for this industry. Like I was reading them last night. This one guy sent in a submission that was like, I have been fighting off the cockroaches for far too long. I need help. Stuff like that. It just cracks me up. But anyway, on all accounts, everything's looking good, you know, on our end. And Dallin, our new account coordinator, had a monthly marketing, a wrap-up call with them to go over their reporting. This is something that we've recently implemented to help with our retention. And at the end of the call, he asked them to fill out a survey, just a short survey. It's about 4 or 5 questions, scale of 1 to 10. We ask questions like, how happy are you with our service? How likely are you to refer our service to a fellow business owner? How well do you understand the service that we're offering to you? Stuff like that. And so these are indicators for us so that we can keep a close eye on how happy our clients are. And so we got one of these forms back this morning, survey form, and we got, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, we got like 5, 3, 2, 3. And so, you know, immediately, of course, the knee-jerk reaction is like, ooh, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
That's not good. And we're right. It's not good. But, you know, one of our advertising, someone on our team, Tim V, you know, he pointed out, and I think it's so important. He's like, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is kind of a win. They filled out the survey. They're telling us that they're having issues. Now we have an opportunity to solve these issues before they leave.
Yeah.
And he's exactly correct. You know, like getting in front of that, being able to, you know, now we ask a question like, hey, account coordinator Dallin, what do you think we should do to help solve these problems? And so it's a win. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good to have that feedback. If you don't have feedback loops, then you're kind of flying in the dark with your clients. So I highly encourage you to put some feedback loops into play for your business, and also not just for your customers, but also for your team. You know, how happy is your team? How are they doing? Is there anything that you can do to improve as their leader, as their manager, or as their, brother in arms or sister in arms, whoever you are, whoever they look up to you as. It's good to know these things. When you're working remotely, it's hard to know. You're just guessing. I use that term, flying in the dark, because that's really what it feels like. Who feels like they're flying in the dark? Type flying in the dark in the chat. But anyway.
Well, we've done the team member surveys and stuff for a long time. We have a survey that we send out to our team members, and then we have 2 reviews a year with each team member. So yeah, I mean, those are super valuable to be able to see like where you're at, get a feel for what's going on, what people are struggling with, how we can help them do their jobs better, how we can be more efficient. It's been really great to see like, what's been going on with the team, even on the Offline Sharks side, with some of them putting together presentations, because they do. So we have weekly team meetings as well. Like various departments do different meetings on different days. We have a weekly team meeting with everybody. And recently I've seen a couple of the team members have put together presentations on what they're seeing going on inside the business and making suggestions on how we can improve. And it's really great to see them kind of take that ownership and really like, help us to see what's going on and how we can get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it makes you feel like when you're in the beginning, in the early stages, and I don't say that, Richard, I'm not saying that you are in the early stages because I know you're crushing it, but you're saying here, I think retention is 100%. I'm still building. So your interaction is direct with the customers. And this is kind of what Tom was just talking about with the team and the ownership and getting them involved. That's kind of the next level. In the beginning, when you're just doing everything on your own, and maybe you have a contractor or two, they're really just kind of following your direction, your initiative. But things really change once you start to try to cultivate and create something a little bit bigger than yourself, where people have a little bit of ownership. And that comes from giving people responsibility. And also people want to see that they're having an impact on what you are doing. So not only can you ask them to help you do certain things with delegation and solving problems in your business, but when they do something well, giving them praise, letting them know they're doing it well. And when they can see improvements in what they are doing and in their role, they're much more likely to start to take even more action, be proactive, and be like looking for these areas that they've solved issues in before and try to continue to solve those issues, trying to, or continue to put out fires, as we call it, right? Just being a great firefighter, whether it's, and it's not just issues. You can be a firefighter in having friction points in your business from delivering things on time or things like that. So, fires can be lots of things, as we've discussed before, but when you can cultivate that kind of behavior in your team where people are taking responsibility, ownership, and coming up with new ideas how to improve things, that's where it really gets fun. I've noticed that for us, like that's where things started to really change for us when even in Offline Sharks Remote Millionaires, like we see a lot of other people kind of in this industry that have done a lot. They're like, they haven't really built a team. They haven't really built a community. And one of the things that we have done pretty well, I feel like, is we have done those two things, and that's the reason why we've been able to really stick around and grow what we've been doing.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes back to the foundation stuff of being legitimately concerned for your customers' well-being and getting them success and making sure that they have a good experience. One of the things that we've focused on very early on from the Offline Sharks side is our customer support, making sure that those people are there to help and have the tools they need to help and run the support in a professional manner and get back to people and all that stuff. And it's interesting because this all ties back to what our topic is for today, because you may be thinking when you're just trying to get started, like, oh my God, another thing I have to do. All right. Like, when does it ever, like Nick and Tom,
never,
does it ever stop?
Never.
And it's like, well, what's the most important? Is it more important to focus on getting clients or retaining the clients? It's all important. And the only way that you can handle that is through discipline and consistency, right? And knowing too that it's never going to be perfect, right? Like you're going to you're going to need to focus on some areas at one time, and other areas might go by the wayside, but eventually you have to come back around to them, and you're like, oh, okay, we need to be back on top of this, right? So discipline, consistency definitely helps with that. By the way, I saw in the chat there that Nade, for those of you that don't know Nade, she works on the Offline Sharks side of things. She's our kind of like our admin. And she does everything. She does a ton of stuff.
She's our team mom.
She's like, she has been with us for a long time. In fact, if you're in Remote Millionaires in the hiring section, I think that's where you hired her in one of those videos. You were shooting a training video on hiring a team member, and she responded, and you started talking to her. Mm-hmm. And then we hired her, and she's still with us. That's been, gosh, it's been a long time, right? 5 years, something like that.
It's pretty cool that, you know, I documented that, and we teach people how to do that. And it just goes to show you that method I mean, everything we teach works well, but I will say that, like, that is clear proof, right? We have somebody that's been in our team for, I mean, what would you say? 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah, she's
don't
been
shoot
here
me.
for a long time.
Long time. So yeah, shout out to Nade. Speaking of customer support, as Tom said, you know, just our team support internally. Nade is a huge piece of that. So if you could tag her and wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah. And she has great discipline too, right? Like, she shows up every day. She keeps all of us on track, gives us all the information and not just us. I mean, we have a pretty big team. There's a lot of cats to herd, as they say.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting they say that because, you know, when you talk about discipline and consistency, it's not just you that has to have that as well, right? Like, when you're looking for people to surround yourself, you're really looking for that in those people as well, right? Communication, organization, all of that stuff really comes back to, are they able to be disciplined, be consistent, you know, hit the benchmarks, hit the deadlines, all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's so crazy how, you know, as you grow, the, you know, deadlines and all that stuff, they become so much more important, right? Like, having people that can hit those things becomes so much more critical to your business, because you have so many moving parts that one person not hitting a deadline can, like, throw off a whole sequence of things, right? You've got all these other people that are depending on what they're going to do. So, and that's in the agency as well, right? It's across all businesses. So it's important when you're, you know, when you are hiring, and when you're training, and when you're leveling people up in your organization, those are really the traits you're looking for, right? Like, you know, almost always you can train someone to do a thing, you know, but what can be very hard to train somebody to do is to develop those traits, or be willing to develop those traits, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, in the beginning, when you're a new business owner, you think you need to learn all of this stuff about business, and you do, but there are some earlier things that you do need to get in place in order to really be able to effectively do that. And discipline is one of them. You know, an example of that is just being consistent to your craft, being consistent to learning, sitting down, watching videos, taking action, watching more videos, or, you know, coming to the community, like being disciplined to come to the community. This is a great example. When you run into issues and you're out on your own, having the discipline to be like, I know where to get support. I'm going to go back to the community of other agency owners and ask them how they fixed this problem. Like, that's a small little thing, but that is having discipline. A lot of people will forget that. They'll just forget that they have that resource. They'll forget that they have that support, and they won't use their support network. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that, hands down, remembering your support network and growing your support network at every stage and every level of your business is going to be something that you need to constantly continue to do. Like, I mean, you can't not do that. There's no way you're going to be successful and not do that.
Yeah, it goes back to what I say on here from time to time. For me, everything has been connected. Like, I used to think that my business life was very separated from my personal life, but I have discovered that it's not. It's all intrinsically connected. And the more I develop those traits in my personal life, the more they come through in my business life, right? And so, working on them personally, you may feel like, oh, well, I'm not doing this for the business, but it does. It translates into the business, right? Like when you can show up on time and put in a genuine effort into tasks and obligations you have that you're not necessarily getting paid for, the easier it is to do that. Like I used to think, oh, well, when the money's on the line, I'll show up. Right. So like no need to show up over here when the money's not on the line. Cause when the money is on the line, I'll show up. But the reality is I have to show up for the other stuff first. And then that allows me to be able to show up when the pressure's high, when, the stress is high, when the money's on the line, those types of things. So yeah, super important.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You will go through phases. It ebbs and flows. At times you will feel you're very disciplined. Your routines are hitting consistently, whether it's, with your business, spiritually, physically, mentally, your family relationships. I mean, those are the main categories for me. When I'm doing everything well in all of those modules, we'll say, then I'm doing well. I'm operating at like peak levels. But that's not always the case. It really ebbs and flows. Sometimes you suck at the relationships with your family. You don't carve out time to hang out and do date night with your significant other or with your kids or whatever. You fall off your routine with your physical exercise, or if you're playing sports or whatever it is, but you're good at you're working your ass off and you're a workaholic. It's all about the balance. I had a mentor tell me back in the day when I was a very, very undisciplined I wouldn't even call myself a man at that point. I was just a kid, very undisciplined. And he was like, man, you're very undisciplined. You need to have some sort of balance in your life. Like everything you do is just out of control. And, even till this day, like now I would consider myself very disciplined. I definitely try to hit all those things pretty much every single day. And if I have like a real slip up, then I'm like twice as hard tomorrow. And even me over time, like I slip up, and the main thing is to not be hard on yourself and just have that awareness of like, oh, this is lagging. This is slacking. Here's how I can improve. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. And then for me, I got to give myself some sort of a buy-in, some sort of a commitment to do better tomorrow. And it could be writing it down on a piece of paper. Tomorrow, I'm going to do these 5 things, no matter what, non-negotiables. And then write it on the whiteboard, put it in 2 different places, tell somebody that can hold me accountable. I'm going to make a commitment to doing these 5 things tomorrow. Go to the Facebook group if you have nobody that can hold you accountable in person. All these things will get you to be bought into having discipline and help train you. But, if you don't have the awareness to do these things, then it's going to be kind of a difficult process.
Yeah. I think having other people around you that you can be accountable to is key, and also too, sometimes when you're not operating at your best, the people around you can help you maintain or pick up some of that slack while you kind of get it together, right? Like asking for help is such a hard thing to do for almost anybody, right?
It is.
You don't want to ask for help. You want to be like, no, I can handle all this. Like, this is okay. It's like, but no, like sometimes you just gotta freaking ask for help.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like, as we've grown our teams, I think about these things when I'm hiring people now. And an interesting perspective is like, if you're interviewing somebody and you're potentially going to hire them, contractor, full-time, doesn't matter. If you are going to really have to teach, and this is actually more for, I would say like your executive level staff or somebody that you potentially can see yourself working with long-term, full-time probably is a little more accurate. If you have to teach them everything, then you probably don't really have the right person. You want your team, if you're hiring an expert, you want that person to be able to teach you stuff. And so when we've been working on growing our teams, I'm really building support for not only myself, but the other members of our team. So when we have issues, we can go to these people and be like, look, this is what we're seeing. I need help, and me and Tom as a business owners, like if you could see our Slack channels, we're always asking our team questions. When issues come in, like we're going to the channel where we have our experts there to support us and help us figure out how to come up with a resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some of the things we used to do and we still do, I guess, to kind of like maintain that discipline and consistency, because one of the things that we've talked about from the very beginning, and you've talked about this a lot, and sometimes it gets overlooked because it's not sexy. It's not some new hack. It's not something that's like, oh yeah, this has a lot of like, oh, I mean, that's cool to do. But like, you mentioned it earlier, just making the list, right? Sitting down the night before with a piece of paper and just, taking some stock of what you did that day and making a list of the most important things that need to get done the next day. Like that's such a simple thing, but it like makes a big difference. I mean, it's so simple. A lot of people just overlook it, right? But it like works. The other thing too that I've done in the past to kind of like help cultivate this type of stuff is to set, really small, micro kind of goals and things like that with stuff I'm doing. Like even like if you're trying to develop discipline, even something as simple as committing to read one chapter of a book at night, and doing that on a consistent basis and tracking your progress. And even something as simple as that can be good. It's not so much that, a lot of times we think like, oh, the actions we take have to be they've got to be these big things that really move the needle, that really make a difference. But the reality for me has been a lot of times it's been the smaller things, that I've done, but been able to do them consistently. Right. Those things have really like helped me to move in the direction that I want to move the most.
Yeah, I agree. And I know you're one of the books that has been helpful to you. And it was so helpful to me, 10 years ago was the Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod, right? And it's not a book of like entrepreneurship, it's a book of like daily routine, but just in the morning, and the thought process is that if you can start with small, simple habits that you can actually start to teach yourself to do first thing in the morning, first thing you do, no matter what, you go brush your teeth, right? It's like the one everybody hears about. It's the popular one, but you do it every day. So if you can do that, then why couldn't you do prospecting? What's the difference? And it's really about learning the behavior and getting consistent on the behavior and psychologically knowing, and teaching yourself how to be disciplined. So that's a great way to start. If some of you feel like you're undisciplined, go check out that book. It's, pretty inexpensive. That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I saw Cody mentioned Atomic Habits. That's another good one that talks about this. But Dorn, you hit the one, make your bed. So I started doing this like, God, I don't know. It's been years now. But like I get up every morning and make the bed. Like it's just this little simple thing, but it's like it's such a game changer because when you come home at night, you're like, oh, the bed's made. Like I don't know, there's just something about having the bed made. Like you don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, but it actually does make a big difference.
Yeah. No, there's a great YouTube video about making your bed from that 4-star kernel or whatever. It was like some
This Is My Ship. Wasn't it that the book was called like This Is My Ship or something?
Maybe, but he's giving this speech to either Medal of Honor recipients or graduates or something like that. It was maybe a commencement speech. Annapolis, that's what it was. Thank you, Dorn. And it's this guy in his full bird colonel outfit uniform, and he has this spiel about making your bed and how you can come home at night and all those things. It's a great video. You should watch it.
Yeah, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. Cleaning up your work area. Getting your work area organized, having an organized work area, right? Like having, I don't know if you, look at all these books back here. Like, look at this, it's like freaking crazy.
That doesn't really count, Tom. I would consider that a library. That is a educational zone back there.
But yeah, I mean, like just having an organizing your workspace, having mapping things out on your calendar, showing up when you're supposed to show up, like all of those little things make a big difference, right? Make a big difference. Yeah. Awesome. Well, why don't we do some shout outs and then we'll take some questions. So we'd love to hear in the comments, maybe what some of you do to instill discipline, consistency. Maybe if you have questions about it, ask them. I mean, there's so many great books. If you go to offlinesharks.com/books, you'll see a ton of books on there that we've recommended over the course of this live show that deal with this. I mean, the Miracle Morning, the main one. There's also the Entrepreneur's Morning, the Entrepreneur's Miracle Morning. That's the one I read. Atomic Habits is another really good one. There's also one called the Kaizen Way, which I really like. And another one is, there is one, I've read some too that are just about developing routines, right? Routines. I think that might even be the name of it. I don't know where it's at, but anyway, tons of good stuff. You'll find a lot of good recommendations there. So check it out. All right, let's do some shark shout outs. Cause like Nick said, man, people have been lighting it up in the community this week. So we want to celebrate those successes. So I'm going to pull up my screen here. First off, right out of the bat, Stormin Norman Thomas, new SEO client, $1,289 Canadian. He closed a 5 custom website deal. So this is a $70,000 deal total. And he's doing them in phases. So like he completes one, and they move to the next, and they go along. So that's an awesome deal. A new Google Business Profile client, $580 a month, SEO in the pipeline.
I mean,
all solid wins.
I want to say that that's probably the biggest deal of websites that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even for 5, broken that. I mean, what is that?
I mean, it's a lot.
It's 14,000 per website.
Yeah.
That's an
incredible
deal.
Yeah.
Congrats, Norm.
Yeah. Richard Cronin sold a $5,000 New Zealand. That's a New Zealand dollars website deal, an ongoing SEO to a reactivated customer in New Zealand. And then he sold a template website to a fishing charter, $500 for the website and $220 for hosting. It's interesting. I had a call with Richie the other day because I'm working with him on bringing something to the community in the works of a course, and he's going to be a part of that. But like this, he was talking about, I think it's this fishing charter website that he was helping with. It's amazing how he did it just by being involved in some groups on Facebook, right? And just letting them know what he did. So pretty amazing. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Next up, we've got Mark Sexton. He shared a couple of wins. He had a 1-page website to a food truck, $800 plus $50 a month management fee. Did a multi-page seafood website, $2,000 plus $50 a month management fee. He had a restaurant website, $2,200 plus $99 a month hosting and maintenance. They also asked about running social media ads once the website is completed. So that's a great, like, laying out the framework of what's coming next. And then he did a flyer design for an existing client, $150.
Wow.
What's really great is to see people on here with multiple wins.
Yeah.
Right? Like really good. Sandy Smith landed a local roofer as a client for $1,400 a month to manage their web and social assets. Nice. Roofer later picked up a new website and SEO, $3,500 for the website, an additional $1,500 a month for SEO.
I love it. Look at all these website clients to monthly management subscription service.
Yeah.
You guys are doing something
right. A recipe for success, right? Adam Van Dyne signed a new Cairo client that is severely lacking in online presence, $500 to optimize and set up additional social accounts, and talks for a couple more services to hopefully begin in about 2 weeks. So great stuff. Taps sold a cleaning website, $1,000 plus he bartered $500 for 2 spring cleaning services. That's a deal my wife would love.
That.
Yeah. SEO, $1,497 a month to a construction client and a new website to a health niche client, $2,500. Killing it, Taps.
Well done, Taps.
Yeah, awesome work. Marvin Drobes leased to buy site to a rhinoplasty specialist, $500 a month plus $3,000 at the end to buy and own. Okay. So like a rent to own deal. That's creative. I like it.
Rhinoplasty is a nose job, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Correct if I'm wrong. Family is a rhinoplasty specialist. No surgery, which is, I mean, that's a great client to have. I mean, if you can get them 1 or 2 leads a month, it's got to be a pretty good deal, right? I mean,
yeah. Donna Norris closed a new client, SEO and Google Business Profile, $1,500 plus a website revamp on the table.
Nice job, Donna.
Yeah,
Donna's here with us right now, I believe, too.
Yeah, good stuff. Geoff Wainwright signed up 3 new hair salon clients, 2 times $220 a month Australian and $330 Australian. These clients came from using Soci Spy and a sequence of emails since March.
Congrats.
That's great. And then Cody Weaver with his wins dump. He posted this post and he's like, here's my wins dump, as Tom likes to call it. My wife was like, what the hell is a wins dump? I was like, oh, he's always posting like a gazillion wins in the group. Website with CRM and email marketing, $5,000 plus $500 a month. That's in the real estate niche. Full service marketing, $3,700 a month plus $85 an hour for design services to a government contractor. Website with Google Business Profile Management, $475 a month. Trash removal business. There's another good niche. Shopify store, geofencing, $25 a month. Website with SEO and booking, $475 a month for a podcast studio. And then a website with CRM and invoicing, $475 a month plus 1% of card sales to a roofing contractor.
Wow.
And that's great.
That is quite the wins dump there, Cody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Great stuff. Oliver Lake. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
He's got to be pushing multiple 6 figures by now.
Yeah, for sure. Oliver Lake, a 4,200 euros contract for a restaurant client in his hometown. 6 months at 700 euros per month to set up Gloria Food System, Facebook and Insta campaigns, plus Google Business Profile optimization and posting. That's great. Nice. And then Dollar Bill Stanley closed on 2 project management contracts, 7,500 and 2,200.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
look at this, Tom. Cody says that he just hit 70,000 monthly recurring revenue this month. Congrats, Cody.
Great. Way to go, Cody. That's awesome.
You're crushing it.
Yeah. And Nick Ponte Marketing PPC campaign to a scuba diving company, $1,500 a month. Plus $1,500 Google Ads upsell to a pressure washing client who is already spending $1,000 a month on SEO.
Mm-hmm. And then we just scored, which I'll make the post, but for next week. But basically, this is a $3,000 a month client, like I said, to the floor coverings business that just came in. And guess how they came in? Cold outreach.
Oh, well.
Cold outreach.
Yeah, for those of you keeping track at home, it's a combined total of $106,443 for the week of April 15th through April 21st. Man, anytime you can have $100,000 a week, that's great. Grand total, $556,906 since the start of 2023. So congratulations out there, everybody. You guys are doing the hard work on that. It's awesome to see that. So, man, way to go. Way to go. Actually, Nick put together a training that I'll put a link on the bottom of the screen. You guys might want to see it. It's called The Glue That Holds Together $1 Million Agencies. And I think you guys will like this. I like the shirt he's wearing in the video. You guys will love that. I'm gonna put the link up. It's a free training. If you just go to offlinesharks.com/glue, you'll see Nick do that. And you guys want to check that out at some point. Not now, but after the live show.
Is that my Here Comes the Money shirt?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And just to give you a little more info on that, you guys, the glue that holds the agency together, we're talking about standard operating procedures, systems and processes. And, we kind of hinted at some of that today with the discipline. You have various things in your agency that you are doing. It could be prospecting, catching up with clients, working with your team. Things that are repetitive tasks that you have to do every single day, or somebody on your team has to do every single day. And so what we do is, after a while, we do that for ourselves. We gain the discipline. We take those necessary action steps every single day. We become extremely regimented, but then we get too busy to do other things. So what we need to do then is systemize those things and create a process so other people can follow that process not just ourselves. So if you have various things that you are doing and you want to systemize it, or you're interested in learning more about that, standard operating procedures are a huge piece of that. You can go to that link and check out more info there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great training. You guys will love it. And it does tie directly into what we've been talking about with discipline, consistency, and all that stuff. So you guys will love that. Awesome. Speaking actually, we'll do that here in a minute. What questions do you guys have for us?
I saw a question that came in at the beginning of the stream that I wanted to circle back to. I think it's a great one. Let's see here. Here it is. Tom and Nick, it's good to see you both again. I joined your group 3 years ago, but have not really started my agency. Any way I can get some guidance on how to get started back up? Man, Tom, I don't know who this is, but they've been in our group for 3 years. This is exactly what we were talking about on yesterday. People in our community for a long time, sometimes people in our community for a long time before they actually, clear off their desk and they're able to actually come back and be like, okay, now I'm ready to get started. But they just hang out on the fringe of the community and they just kind of see what other people are doing. They see the success that other people are doing. And Tom and I sometimes, and the rest of our team, sometimes we think that everybody just comes in and they take immediate action. They need to, and that's how it is. But I know for some people, the process can take a little bit more time. Sometimes people join our community because they're only thinking of quitting their job and it takes them years. Maybe whoever this is, if somebody could call them out, that'd be great. Maybe, now they're finally ready to take action. And so just to start this conversation off, whoever you are, really appreciate you and good for you for jumping in right now and being in our community for 3 years and now just having the courage or, whatever you want to call it to say something now, and being willing to actually start the process. So that being said, Tom, do you have any great information? What would you do?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. One, like we talk about a lot on this live show, you want to get to revenue producing activities as quickly as possible, right? And typically what that means is deciding on a service, a prospecting method, and then taking action on that, right? We have a ton of great stuff on that, right? The, some ones that are really quick to get started are things like home services jackpot, professional services payday. Those are all things that have built in, like you're selling pre-built websites, which because they're pre-built, it's not like a huge thing. You can sharpen your skills on that. And the prospecting is pretty straightforward, right? Like you can pretty much just dive in and get to prospecting. That's the thing that's really difficult to overcome, right? Because we're trying to learn, we're trying to figure things out. But really at the end of the day, the thing that makes the biggest difference is actually talking to potential prospects and having a chance to offer to do something for them, right? So whether you're using something like that, whether you're using something like, another really great one, if you're new and you're just trying to get some footing under you, is our agency growth machine, because that builds in some credibility, some authority, and you can really get up and running pretty quickly. That's the probably my biggest thing would be not to overthink it, right? Like let's pick a service, maybe look to the group, see what people are selling a lot of, whatever it is, right? And then just start taking some action. Make a list of the things you need to do, right? Okay, I need to, like, one thing that Nick and I have done for a long time is if you're sitting there and you're feeling like, I know I should be prospecting, but I feel like I can't prospect because, like, write all those becauses out. And that can usually give you a list of things that you need to check off to get to that point, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe I know I should be prospecting, but I can't because I don't have a name for my agency and I feel like that's holding me back, right? Or maybe I feel like I should be prospecting, but I don't because I really just don't know what service to offer, right? Like, and you'll hear us say this all the time. There really are no magic services. There are no magic niches. Like you just have, like, if you look back through the wins in our group, people are in all kinds of niches. They're doing all kinds of services. It's just a matter of picking one. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm not really sure, like maybe you need to spend a little time getting familiar with the service, right? Just make that list. And that can give you a pretty good action list of things that you just need to start checking off one thing at a time so you can get to that point as quickly as possible.
That's a great idea. And when you make that list, if you have questions about that list, just come to the Facebook group.
Yep.
And post
Tons
it in
of
the
people.
group.
I mean, everyone here is so willing to help, right? If you have a question, a thing, just post in the group. People will help you. So
yeah, but we'll help you. You know, if I
Yeah,
see
we'll
that
help you
post,
too.
I'm gonna,
Yep.
if I see that post in our community, I'm gonna chime in. You know, I'm gonna give you some feedback on that. And you know, that's a great way to shine a flashlight on the areas that could be bottlenecks and sticking points for you. You know,
Yeah.
and the other thing that I'll add to, because I completely agree with Tom, you know, the revenue producing activities, and he said there's no magic service, but what I will add to that is that there are verified services. You know,
Yes.
there are verified methods. They're not magic, meaning you're not going to immediately become a millionaire overnight in that sense. But there are strategies that are proven to work, things that have been battle tested. And so the difference is you could go off on your own and come up with ideas and create ways to add value to the marketplace and try to get customers. Or you could use the methods that, you know, we or other members of this community are already using, which will save a lot of time. You won't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use something that's verified to actually work, and then just really focus on following that and expanding on that. And so, you know, we in this community, like a lot of people out there will say, you know, pick a niche, make your agency about that niche. I think for a lot of people in the beginning, just trying to get as many customers as they can. And if you, for me, what I did was I chose a niche for prospecting. I wanted to try a different strategy, and I chose an industry to go after with that strategy. I didn't make my entire business about that industry. And, you know, I would encourage you to try to check that out in the beginning, because the reason I say that is because the niche, I believe, will kind of choose you. You know, a lot of people struggle with that. What industry should I go after? There are a lot of industries out there. A lot of them make a lot of money, you know. But when I say the industry, the niche will choose you, like for me, for example, for us, you know, our industry is kind of activity companies, you know, like, yes, we have a flooring client that we just got. Yes, we have we got a scuba company, right? We have so many boat tour companies, kayak tours, we have a submarine company, right? They do underwater submarine tours. It kind of chose us, but we were doing prospecting methods to find businesses. And after a while, we got a few clients, we got them results, and now we can speak to those results to other businesses in those industries, which allow us to be able to create a much more powerful, set ourselves up to be much more of an authority to that type of industry. Because now we can say, look, we've worked with 300 other activity companies, and these are the types of results we have gotten them, and we can do that for you. That's
I think one of the
powerful sales conversation.
Yeah, and I think a couple things you hit on there are super important too that I would add to that advice. Is one, like, when you're getting off the ground, forget about making $1 million. Like, forget about trying to be a 6-figure agency. Like, your sole focus right now should be getting that first client, right? Like, let's just get one client.
Yep.
And let's build out from there, right? If you're struggling with, you know, well, I don't have confidence, I don't have authority, like, there's nothing wrong with offering to work with someone at a severely discounted price, or even for free, if you can use them as a case study to get other clients. And that can help. But here's the thing, when you do that, you got to work with them like they're paying you, right? Like, you put all your effort in, you want to give them a good experience, you want to really dig in, and that can help build up that confidence, and too, just getting that interaction under your belt. So I do those as well.
Yeah. Norm says, my niche is those who can afford me. And that, I mean, in the beginning, I would relate to that completely, you know, and, you know, I think now we're a little bit more like Donna, who says, I'm qualifying people better and more and choosing who I like to work with, you know, and both are perfectly fine and normal places to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I don't see any other questions there. I know we have a couple things to do here. So first, we need to do our our member of the week. So the member of the week, we send out this awesome Shark Swag treasure chest. The content's unknown, but may help you with getting some discipline and consistency going.
It definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
There are some items in that treasure chest that will help you to stay on task.
Yeah, we deliberately made it that way. This week, our member of the week is the traveling, living the remote lifestyle right now, Mr. Richard Cronin. So, man, his continued support for members of the community, answering questions, giving value. Like, I just went through the other day and rewatched the training series he did on AGM, like him and Doran, and it was amazing. It was great. So, Richie, congratulations, man. I hope you're having a good time out there in New Zealand. And, he's in Nashville now, too. He's back in New Zealand right now, so he's building businesses in both places. But great work, Richie.
Yeah, he's really, really stepped it up, and he's been helping us out a lot, and a lot of members in our community, too. So, yeah, I also would like to just personally say thank you. Thank you, Richie. Really appreciate everything you've been doing. And if you guys have gotten any value from Richie, let him know in the comments. Tag him. Let him know. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you.
For sure. Yeah. And then we have one more thing to do before we call it on this fine Friday and head into the week.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
Oh, yeah. The money song. Who are our winners today, Nick? And for anybody that's new to our community, whenever we make the shout out post, if you just go there and put in a good job, way to go, leave a comment at the end of the stream every week, we pick a couple of people at random and we send them some cash. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. So, come join us next week, same time, and congratulate those shout out people. Our winners this week are Jackie Heath and Enrique Fernandez.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Patty says we need a Kevin update. Nick, when are you going to lay the big news on the community?
Wow, you could do that to me.
When are you going to do that? I've been wondering.
I don't know. I don't know how to do those things, Tom. I don't know how to do those things. All right, so yeah, my wife Sloan and I, we are expecting a baby girl.
Yes, a new baby shark on the way.
A new baby shark. Yes. So that next chapter of life is fastly
now
approaching.
Upon him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah. Appreciate you helping me get that out there. I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if you were waiting for a certain thing or whatever, but we're gonna get it out there because it's a bit, it's exciting. So congratulations. We wish you guys the best. It's gonna be fun to. It's gonna be fun to see.
Tom knows how stressed out I am about that because it's taken me a lot of work to just feel like
you get to that point, right?
I could be a dad, So anyway, it is what it is.
Awesome.
Appreciate all the support.
Well, listen, we're gonna end this live show on that high note. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you here next Friday, same shark time, same shark channel. If you have questions, post them in the Facebook group. Hit us up at our support, offlinesharks.com support. And we will see you next week, everybody.
See you, everyone.
Stay safe. Practice Aloha.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires Podcast at remotemillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then,